Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my big Doctor Strange 2 Fantastic Four Reed Richards video about why he knew about Kang the Conqueror already, his variants, the Kang Multiverse War during the movie, even though we just saw the beginning of the second Kang Multiverse War during the beginning of the Loki finale in a completely different part of the timeline. A lot of you also asking about him entering using the exact same portal tech as the TVA. It looks the exact same, it's no coincidence.
You mess with time, it tends to mess back. You'll see.
Everything is connected. So if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything. I do Marvel videos every week, and I'll be doing weekly episode videos for Obi-Wan Kenobi starting next week too. But a lot of you may have seen recently that John Krasinski, caught in 4K, acknowledged his Fantastic Four Reed Richards cameo scene. It was, quote-unquote, fantastic. During Doctor Strange 2, MCU Doctor Strange and America Chavez wind up meeting a version of Marvel's Illuminati in Universe 838. It's a big deep cut from the comics. They confirmed that the X-Men, mutants, Inhumans with Black Bolt, Fantastic Four already exist in this multiverse. Technically, we should call it the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse now. It's almost like everything is canon, even though it doesn't technically work that way. It's kind of like everything is canon through the multiverse now. They're meant to be Easter eggs for every single version of all these different characters on the Illuminati that you've seen in the movies, the TV shows, the animated series like X-Men, the animated series, and in the comics. They're like an amalgam of all the versions of the characters you've ever seen. John Krasinski, as I said, plays their Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, fulfilling probably one of the biggest fan casting Easter eggs of all time the last couple years. Seriously, this turned into a huge thing the last couple years after Marvel made the announcement that they were even doing a new Fantastic Four movie at Comic-Con 2019. Everybody was fan casting John Krasinski. Even John Krasinski got in on the joke during his special show.
That's right, for someone who only just got off dial-up this week, this whole internet thing continues to be a constant source of surprise and living nightmares, which I have to appreciate as it'll be the closest I ever get to playing a comic book hero.
But when his Reed Richards enters the Illuminati scene, he comes through a portal that looks exactly like the portals the TVA use to travel around time and space using quantum energy. The only difference is that his quantum energy is blue instead of the golden color from the Loki series. If you were confused about that, the reason why it's quantum energy is all feeding into Ant-Man 3 Quantumania, the way that they use quantum energy to travel through time and space. It's just that Kang in the TVA had been doing it with much more advanced futuristic technology in a much more precise way. Because one of the big tropes of the Fantastic Four in the comics is traveling between different universes, it would make sense that Reed Richards would also discover a version of quantum energy and use it as the same type of portal technology that they use in the comics. One of the really funny things about Kang is that pretty much everything that he's known for doing, traveling through time and space, is that most of his research came from borrowed technology that he built on from stuff that we've seen in the MCU so far. For example, in the MCU, Kang did not create the idea of time travel. Iron Man is technically the first person that we've known to actually create time travel in the MCU. In the comics, Kang stole plans from one of Doctor Doom's time travel platforms in the 616 universe and repurposed it with futuristic technology. That mission that he went on, the first one, was to ancient Egypt, setting himself up as Rama-Tut. There were a couple Easter eggs for this during Moon Knight for the MCU version. Obviously, the MCU version's similar, but just a little bit different with the characters involved. You see a lot of ancient Egyptian artifacts inside Kang's office during the Loki finale. That's meant to be an Easter egg for the Rama-Tut version of Kang. In the MCU, there was this great rift that caused the MCU gods, the Ennead pantheon here, Egyptian gods, to go to this alternate dimension and leave mankind to their own devices for the most part. Kang was responsible for a lot of that happening. He actually got a lot of the normal people to start worshiping him and stop worshiping the old gods, which is one of the reasons why they felt like mankind turned away from them. So you see, it's all connected. But like I said, in the comics, he stole Doctor Doom's time travel platform and just repurposed it with his futuristic technology. The only difference in the MCU is that it was Iron Man who created that time travel platform during Avengers Endgame with quantum energy. That's why the quantum energy that they use to travel through time and space looks exactly the same as the type of energy that Kang uses for all of his portal technology. The only difference with the 838 universe version of Reed Richards' Fantastic Four technology is that it's blue quantum energy, but same principle. So in addition to stealing or borrowing and enhancing Iron Man's time travel technology, Kang also apparently, quote-unquote, borrowed, we call it borrow, but really it's like stealing, Reed Richards' research into quantum energy and this type of portal technology, much more precise portal technology than what the Avengers were using. So during John Krasinski's brief scenes as Reed Richards, he sets up a ton of stuff for the future of the Marvel movies, Avengers 5, their Marvel Phase 4, Secret Wars arc, all the incursions, and he gives us some of the next big Kang Easter eggs, setting him up as the next Thanos-level overarching big bad. There's a huge connection between Reed Richards and Kang. They're actually biologically related. Some of you have been asking about this too, ever since they introduced Kang the Conqueror, and we knew that there was going to be a Fantastic Four movie. So Kang is like the very, very distant descendant of Reed Richards' father, so it's not like he's Reed Richards' great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson. He's more like his half-brother, thousands of years removed. That's why this version of He Who Remains Kang during the Loki finale said that across the multiverse, all of them were born as Nathaniel Richards.
A variant of myself lived on Earth in the 31st century, and he discovered that there were universes stacked on top of his own.
He's named Nathaniel Richards to honor his ancestor, Nathaniel Richards. So you have to imagine that over thousands of years, African-American traits were introduced to Reed Richards' family's gene pool, and you get this version of Kang the Conqueror eventually. When the Illuminati are yelling at Doctor Strange about his plan to defeat his version of Thanos in the MCU and explaining why he and all of his Doctor Strange variants are so dangerous to the multiverse, Reed Richards launches into this big technical explainer for the incursions and why he's making them worse in doing what he's doing during the movie, or what he's done in the past.
Your arrival here confuses and destabilizes reality. The larger the footprint you leave behind, the greater the risk of an incursion.
When he tells our Doctor Strange that his mere presence here destabilizes the multiverse, further weakening the barrier between universes, he's talking about the incursions, which he would have started to observe across the multiverse as he's studying quantum energy. One of the Fantastic Four's big things is in traveling between universes, like the Negative Zone in the comics. The discovery of the Negative Zone was a huge thing during the 2015 Fantastic Four movie. They tried to get into that a little bit, even though the movie was a big failure. The showrunner on Moon Knight is the same person who wrote that 2015 Fantastic Four movie, so he actually said that they were going to do Annihilus and a version of Galactus in their version of the Negative Zone. Annihilus was like one of the first big villains that they introduced through the Fantastic Four comics in the Negative Zone, so don't be surprised if, when they do the new Fantastic Four movies, you see a version of Annihilus come from those films. The Moon Knight writer said that they were also going to have a version of Galactus come from their version of the Negative Zone in that original Fantastic Four movie. So he would have been a multiverse version of Galactus. But you see the way that this version of Reed Richards learns about the incursions, these colliding different universes, and how through his study of that, he learns that there is an intelligence behind it and learns about a version of Kang kind of directing things. The whole concept of the Kang Multiverse War is really just all of Kang variants from different universes, different timelines, battling each other for supremacy until their specific timeline becomes the only timeline. In the Loki finale, where you see this version of Kang as the statue the TVA's replaced the original statue, it's almost like he's witnessing the Kang Multiverse War play out, and this version of Kang just happens to be winning currently. That's why Mobius and the other agents are all yelling about all these incursions happening and everything going all chaotic around them, because they're still in the middle of this second Kang Multiverse War, even though this particular Kang happens to be winning currently. I know there's a little confusion when it comes to talking about different timelines versus different universes. They kind of mix and match those concepts during the Loki series, but basically, the Kang Multiverse War is a way of talking about the version of Secret Wars that's going to be playing out in the future of the Avengers movies, or whatever they call the giant big crossover movies. Time runs out, universes battling with each other, destroying each other, leading up to a version of Battle World where whoever's left from across the multiverse all do battle with each other for supremacy. The Fantastic Four is a really big part of that storyline because Doctor Doom winds up being God Emperor Doom and being one of the biggest pieces of that story. The big difference in the MCU version of this Secret Wars Battle World scenario is that they're just kind of replacing God Emperor Doom with a version of Kang the Conqueror. They also mention Franklin Richards during the Doctor Strange 2 movie. Like, he says he has his full family, so he has Valeria Richards, he has Sue Storm, and he has Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards is probably like one of the most powerful characters that Marvel has ever introduced in humanoid form. In that newer version of Secret Wars, it winds up being Reed Richards to bring the multiverse back with Franklin Richards' power. Franklin Richards has the power to create entire alternate universes, so he basically uses that to repopulate the multiverse. But just remember that the way that Secret Wars plays out in the MCU movies is going to be a little bit different. But hopefully that explains how Reed Richards as a character, Fantastic Four, is connected to Kang the Conqueror and what's happening with the Kang Multiverse War and Secret Wars. If you have any questions about what's going on with the characters or what's going on with this brand new version of Fantastic Four, just write them below in the comments. I'll do more videos as we get more Easter eggs for that new movie. There's going to be a brand new Thor Love and Thunder trailer on Monday night. Of course, I'll do a video for it. There's going to be so much crazy stuff going on, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everyone click here to learn about the new Marvel Daredevil series they just announced that they're working on, and click here for that brand new Deadpool 3 teaser. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.